sorry. Every Houston firefighter would put their life on the line for anybody, without question, at a moment's notice. And this is no different.
But in this case, hundreds were told to stay home.
Yes.
During one of the worst catastrophes to ever hit this city.
They were told to stay home.
Houston firefighters call it unacceptable. At the height of Hurricane Harvey's flooding, rescuers were told not to report to work.
Investigative reporter Scott Knoll has the email at the very center of this controversy.
We're not going to be able to make this run. We can't get across 45. That area there is underwater. We're rerouting. If we find a better way, we'll let you know.
Scenes catastrophic. Houston underwater. Thousands rescued from their homes, sparking this plea from Harris County Judge Ed Emmett.
So those of you who have boats and high water vehicles that can be used in neighborhoods to help move people out of harm's way, we need your help.
But as the all call for the public's help was going out, KHOU 11 Investigates discovered when it came to Houston's fire department.
I don't want to hear about lack of resources or we had all we could.
The Sunday of the storm was anything but all hands on deck. In fact, only about 1/4 of the city's firefighters were told to work that day. Marty Langton is the president of Houston's Firefighters Union.
Emergencies are something you prepare for. You don't always have the answers, but you prepare. In this case, they weren't prepared.
He's talking about HFD's decision not to bring in additional firefighters, a decision Chief Sam Pena says was largely based on history.
We had experienced floods in the past and significant floods, where they didn't require that type of response.
But even as flooding swallowed up large chunks of the city, firefighters were told to stay home. In an email sent Sunday afternoon, firefighters were told, quote, firefighters who are not scheduled to work are asked to refrain from coming into the station unless otherwise notified by HFD command.
We're calling for citizens and their boats and their vehicles. We're recalling the entire National Guard except the Houston firefighters.
It was terrible, terrifying, but nobody can help you.
It's a message that hits a nerve in the Sagemont neighborhood in southeast Houston.
Doesn't make sense at all.
Debbie Martinez and her 3-month-old granddaughter waited hours for help as her home filled with water.
There could have been people here to help us to get out of here. You know, it doesn't make sense.
But Pena says extra firefighters would have little to do but wait to relieve other crews already conducting rescues.
We had enough staffing to staff all our apparatus. We had full staffing on all our apparatus. Everything that we had available, we deployed.
This 20-year HFD veteran worked that Sunday shift.
There's a catch.
Correct.
Concerned speaking out could cost him his job, he asked we hide his identity.
At my station, we had one of the apparatus crews, 4 members, actually went out on a dump truck to do high water rescues, which left a pumper unmanned, sitting in the station idle, unable to respond to calls.
He says that fire engine sat parked without a crew for 10 to 12 hours.
Do you believe a lack of manpower that day slowed down rescue of people?
Yes, I do.
The chief says that's tough to know for sure, but back in Sagemont, as the cleanup continues, one thing is clear.
Perhaps this is a good lesson. We need to be prepared for the next one and do things right.
Do you think they did things right here?
I don't think so.
The fire chief says in hindsight he would have called in more firefighters to make sure crews could rotate out each day. This time those extra crews weren't called in until Tuesday morning. By then we're told some firefighters had worked 3 straight days without a break. Standing for Houston, I'm Scott Knoll, KHOU 11 Investigates.